to you. Welcome to the discussion segment of the Good Morning Anambra Monday morning edition. How are you? I hope you're good. Yeah, you should be good. After all, you were warned earlier. I think yesterday we read on the news where the our first lady, Mrs. Nayesolude, was asking us to guard our hearts, guard your heart, you know, about this to avoid having any challenges cardiovascular wise. Okay, so and then a couple of things that even make you put you off apart from what happened, the tournament that happened yesterday. What about the non-supply of electricity that people are going through now? You know, in all the problems and hassles you're going through, you come back at the end of the day, you can't even sleep very well. You can't attend to yourself. The little thing you made money to cook has spoiled because there's no power supply to your freezer and a whole lot of things. I don't know how we're going to survive this station. But some bishops and some men of God said this morning that we should start praying. Even the Sultan of Sokoto said, let's pray. That's why we are not praying. That's why we're having problems. So let's start praying because China is praying. That's why they're not having problems. And then America, Britain, all those big other nations, they're all praying. That's why they're not having problems. But guard your hearts, mostly. Okay? Thank you. My name is Sijama. This morning, if possible, we're going to look at a topic that says NUC blames parents for prevalence of illegal degree awarding institutions. How true is this? It's a blame game era. Everybody's blaming everybody. I'm going to blame you if you don't watch this program. Okay, welcome. I have people that have joined me to look at this because when you hear NUC, when you hear degree, you should know where I will get my guest to talk about it. It's from the Citadel of Learning, and I have Professor Obiajulu Obikeze. He's a university don. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning, EJ. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, I also have Dr. Nonso Ekesiobi. Dr. Nonso Ekesiobi is also a university lecturer. Good morning, Nonso.
Good morning. Nice to be here again.
Okay, I think I'm hosting you for the first time this year. Yeah. So let me quickly congratulate you because the last time I hosted you, this name was not attached to your name. I mean, this acronym was not attached to your name. So congratulations. Your doctorate degree is not a limb feat. I thank you very much. Thank God for you anyway. Okay, now, Prof, the NUC blaming parents for prevalence of illegal degree awarding institutions. Is it parents that are instituting this institution? Is the first question that came to mind when I saw this. Or how do they mean that parents are responsible for this?
We may not go straight to the question without at least having some background.
Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, the Western education came to Nigeria and Africa in general during the colonial period. And when they came, they believed we never educated our people. And that raised the question, what do you mean by education? Is it just by gathering in a four wall and then imparting knowledge? So our people began to debunk that idea. And we realized we were educating our young ones before the white man came. And so that was through socialization, informal means, and the rest of them. And as recently, as far back as 1920, we had very few schools where people could go gather, whether primary, secondary, or tertiary. In fact, by 1920 or thereabout, by 1920, there was no university in the whole of West Africa. The countries colonized by Britain. Achimota College came after about 1925 or so in Ghana. So
Achimota. I wanted to ask, where is the Achimota?
In Ghana. In Ghana.
Okay.
It was a British colony then, you remember, Gold Coast. Yeah, so the whole of West Africa, colonized by Britain, we were no university until Achimota College. So what are we trying to say? The issue we are trying to look at is the issue of how education even came, the formal education in Nigeria. And then it was as a result of formal education that nationalists began to agitate for independence and the rest of them. So that crop of people who now started to agitate found jobs, more or less. And we now have formal education, the Western type of education, providing a lot of benefits to those who were able to join. So many people did not have money to join because of poverty at the time, which is also, even now, it has not changed much. So many people did not have. So, but with the benefit of education, once you graduated at that time, even at the primary school, you got a job, either as messenger, as clerk, as typist, or that kind of thing. Because at the time,
as you earn salary, you can now
take care, exactly.
You know,
The future was bright. So many people now saw the need for education as time progressed. When we got independent in 1960, we had a lot of facilities and opportunities to get jobs, either by the foreign firms that were here or by government ministries by 1960. Then the war broke out in 1967. And some of these things were stopped. And it was as a result of this war, more or less, that Nigeria entered into a new phase of, do we say, changes that have not been serving well in the country. So the war brought a lot of things, including the issue of a graduate, you may not get a job. And
brought a lot of things,
yes, negative, more of negative. There are changes positively, but then, as we stand today, I don't think it's simpler to count the negative side than the positive ones. So what are we trying to say? That the issue of education or tertiary institutions in Nigeria, also started to grow after the Civil War. Before then, we had very few universities in Nigeria, very few universities. You can count UI, count University of Nigeria, and then one or two others. That was all. So until they now introduced the issue of JAMB and the rest of them. So that's, to answer your question straight, with the JAMB then came with universities coming up. Today we have 200 and something in number. Many of them privately owned, many state-owned, and then federal government-owned. So now see explosion of universities all through. And what is the problem? Many of our people want to get certificated, whether the certificate is all good or not. So that is basically the issue. So the essence of education, we have lost the touch. The touch now became, you use it to get job. You use it to get job. And then how you even get in and the kind of thing became a very serious problem. So what are we trying to say? The person that should blame, the blame cannot be laid squarely on the doorsteps of the parents. Cannot just place the blame on the parents and then in the hands of, no. The parents, the government, even the pupils and the students, though we all have, the entire society, we ought to blame on what is going on in the tertiary education. Yes.
Okay, Dr. Kesilbi, we have seen the background of education in Nigeria. I had wanted to ask where what the private sector, the private institutions started coming in, whether it was from that angle that NUC is looking at. But I think we are talking on standard now. Okay, so the blame will go to university, will go to the pupil. The students will go to the parents. So how does the parents come in now?
Like the background Prof gave. You see, when you say something is that thing is not, maybe it has not been recognized or approved. So is it the parents that does the approval or the recognition or gives a license for you to operate a university? The answer is no. It is the regulatory body, which in this case is the NUC, under the Ministry of Education. So for the NUC to come around and say it is parents that are to blame is what I find very confusing. Yes, parents have a blame, but I don't want to call it intentional, because every parent will want the best for his child or for his or her child or ward. So you will expect his parent to sit down, fold their arms, and not encourage their children to get educated. But like what Prof said now, is no longer, I think the desperation component now that makes the prevalence of these institutions possible now is that everybody now wants that certificate. The emphasis has moved away from actually imparting knowledge, skills that they can use to, develop society and contribute to, their field of study. It has gone to certificate, only the certificate, only a zero, and the rest of them. So you see that when the NUC comes out to say it is blaming parents, I wonder how, because no parents will intentionally agree and ever if they tell the parent that it's illegal. No parent will intentionally
so they even know there are illegal awarding institutions as NUC, and they allow them to be operating.
That's the thing. So if you look at the bigger picture, you will see that, like Prof said now, why do we have the parent? Because you look at the causative factors. Why do you have these illegal institutions? It's obvious that when I think the number of pupils that take JAM every year now is heading to 2 million every year. And like Prof said now, we have just about 200 universities in Nigeria, or tertiary institutions. I think 61 belong to the federal, 63 by states, 140 something, and 446 or so for my last count of private universities. Still, you still have a deficit. There is a gap. So the demand, which primarily is not necessarily driven by now you want your child to be educated to go and get skills. It's just so they can get certificates to look for job. So if there's emphasis on certification the way it is now, then it is a problem. Then another thing again you will look at for why these illegal institutions are prevalent the way it is the weak regulatory role of the NUC. Like you said, the NUC, it's absurd to come out and say, we have illegal
awarding, degree awarding institutions.
The executive secretary was making a report concerning that. I said there are about 37. Say, these people. Go and get them now. Go and clamp them down. Then you come out again. You will not blame Nigerians again. There are socio-economic factors that are also driving this thing. Prof has said poverty. The schools that are within their proximity or within their reach, it's beyond their reach in terms of finance. So most of these universities will come and offer you crazy payment fees, and maybe some kind of staggered payment process. So they will be like, okay, this one is affordable, let's go there. That poverty issue is a problem. Another one is this information gap. I looked for admission for 3 years in Lagos, Unilag, and it got to a point. It was somebody that now told my dad then that also na Unilag can go. And that was when we came to the east. When we got to Unilag, he said, no, the admission is over. It was somebody in Unilag that he told us, go to Uli now. So you see, and we are now like, what is happening? They said it's a state university. And as at that time, the state university was around 2-4. So the state university was just about 4 years old, but people did not know about it. And I went there, applied, and I got admitted. So you see, that information gap again may be the reason why parents do not know that there are opportunities elsewhere. But because of another socioeconomic factor like security, you find out that if the opportunities, for instance, in northern universities, nobody will really want their child to go there because you see the way they are attacking schools over there and the rest of them. So who want to go? Then the way okay, for instance, the internet has aided this thing as well. Some of these what do you call it, illegal institutions now do not necessarily operate in a physical campus anymore. They will just tell you, hey, Prof, it's true. No, Prof is aware now. Just the same way what do you call these people? Open University runs, with this kind of alternative hybrid system of both online and this.
Open University, they have classrooms now, but some of these ones are online.
So there are many schools now that are online. In fact, the NUC, for me, I'm shocked that they are not even looking in that direction. They are just looking at institutions that have a physical address. What of these ones? They just tell you go online and do the thing. Then abracadabra, the person comes up with a university. with the university certificate.
And who certified the person to go on to go for youth service and a whole lot of things? Okay, we are coming. Let's pin this thing down, Prof. I know before you can institute an institution, you need license. Okay. So who gives this license for one to establish a higher institution? And then when the license is issued, there is this supervisory aspect of it. I knew then when we were in UNIZIC, and then they said they were coming to, what do they call it? To accreditation. Okay, that some faculties are not yet accredited, and this and that. So there's this process through which university grows. So are these things still in place? And NUC is telling us all this.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, my conclusion was that we are all to blame. You know, we cannot, wash our hands and then say it's a NUC problem or it's for parents. Now let's take it one by one. On the part of the parents, just like he has said, every parent is desirous for the child to make progress. You know, and most of the parents also work in some of these ministries and departments. And because they have the interest of their children at heart, they always propel and brandish policies and programs that would benefit their children more or less, without knowing that some of these policies are not in tandem with the progress of the society. When we start the issue of how do we make it? Discriminatory schools, like science schools, like special centers, like that kind of thing. Your child may not be good enough in primary school, in secondary school. All of a sudden, he scores 300 to go to university. How did he get this score? Because the parent has helped to purchase the weapon, which is that JAM score, to go to university. When that child, is not a university material, he can be good in other things. Even if he has to go to university, but not at the expense of people who are better than he is. So what am I trying to say? That parents, through this kind of process, because they need their children by all means to be certificated instead of being educated, because certificates and education are not the same. You can be educated, certificated without knowing anything, without having the empathy, without having the character, which is one of the major components of education. Mm-hmm. And so you now send your child, go to a special center, get a maths A, English A, all the necessary subjects. Who is to blame at that level? It's not the parents, because they want their children to move into tertiary institutions and the education institutions. Then the parents also will not even bother to go and find out how their children are doing in schools, even when they have sent them to these schools. They just keep aloof. It comes in the semester, tells you anything, you have money, you give. Some of them even send them with television, with motor cars, all sorts of comfort. And that's part of it. At the end of the day, you won't even check if that some students stay in university 7 years without having a degree. Mm-hmm. They will always tell one lie or the other to the parents that they are working down.
When we are in school,
yes, we have students, professional students. Every year they are there. So what am I trying to say? That parents at this level should not see education as just getting certificate. Getting the character is much more important. Getting the talent, getting the skills, getting the human aspect of it. These are the areas I should talk about the parents. And we should also know that some of our children are not doing well, and we should not encourage them. Because we are desirous for our children to go to university, go to other tertiary institutions, then we do whatever it takes to. Some parents are not even, just like you said, the issue of awareness. Some of my little kids came back and said there's one university at Ihial owned by state. I said, which one? He said he didn't know. Assuming I wasn't there, the mother would have sent her to that place. I said, there's no university in Ihial, whether private, government, or whatever, in Ihial town. Then I later learned that he was talking about one private university in Okija. And then I said, how did you even get to Okija to know that there is school there? So some of these things, parents, when they are not aware, they are swindled by their own children. And that's part of parenting aspect of it, which parents must take good care of. Then the issue of the government, You have done it. You've said it all. The essence of having a university is just to create standard, create quality, create a measure that every standard must be maintained by any university you give license. The question is, how do we now get to that stage? The universities are not getting the standards. The universities are not doing what they should do to be on the platform of what could be called a university. Yet, the NUC doesn't care. And then we are part of it. It's not something we come to and then start brandishing.
I want to talk about it. Forget those ones you don't want to talk about, because that is where, honestly, that is where corruption comes in.
Yes.
Okay? Because that guy is from your place, or is from your club, or is from your religion, and then he's instituting, okay, we are coming back to that one. We're instituting an institution, establishing an institution, and he comes to you and they tell him, no, this is illegal. The government said that you can't do this and you can't do this. So, but Prof did it now. The other person did it now. And it was when their own brother was here that they were giving licenses. Now that you are here, okay, what you do for me, what your predecessor did for them, that kind of a thing. So how does corruption come in now? Because you can't, my people will say, something like that. Because you create this problem.
Sure.
You are in charge of institutions, establishments and monitoring of these institutions. And now you're coming back to tell us now, no parents can't get blamed. So how do we curb corruption? Let me come to you, Ekestobi, because I've seen now, my guy, if it's again. Establish university. They're not illegal universities, kind of.
Well, you see, when you say illegal, it looks as if as if it's what happens in these illegal universities that should worry us. I want to tell you, even some of the universities that even have the license, sometimes when you have the opportunity to visit some of these places, you'll be wondering how did this place get a license in the first place? Yes. I've seen there's a university in this state, I will not mention the name. I was invited to come and join their teaching faculty, and I got there, and just one semester, you see the students, they don't come to class, they don't do anything, and the rest, and that is licensed. So at the end of the semester, you will assess the students objectively now. So we had a situation where I was struggling to see that at least 50% of the class succeed. Then, on submitting, then I was later called that I should come, that there's a mistake somewhere. Oh, okay. I went back. I said, okay, what is going on? That same result has changed to almost all A's and B's. I say, if we don't do it like this,
you will encourage them.
You will encourage the students to finish. And when they don't finish, they cannot go and tell others to come. So you can say, I was like, no.
Business.
That education is not a business you simply run on profit and loss or balance sheet size. No. Actually, there's some that, and that was the last time I went to that school. I told them, Mama, they're missing. I can't. But that kind of thing is still going on. Then, like what Prof said, you see, this aspect of when you see
somebody that didn't go to school will come out with first class.
Okay. When somebody that when the institution that is supposed to carry out the regulatory function, does the NUC, the NUC something, and when they come, some come there for to come and do the job they came to do. Some may go there for other reasons.
Which other reasons? We know when they go for supervisions, it's not just like what we see in secondary schools. So we're here to talk.
All of us are to blame. You see, that's why even in some institutions, when these regulators come, it's just like those days in secondary school when we used to do what they call that inspection. In boarding school, everybody will keep the environment clean. Those things that you don't do before normally, you just put them around. So when the inspectors come and see, they say, okay, this house is the best, or this one is the best.
But so who is the seven who?
So that's that. I'm coming there now. So when you come and you see what is going on, you see that some of these institutions we just patch up the thing to look as if yes they are doing what is there. when the inspectors or the NUC guys come and go, and the whole thing goes back to the system. But you cannot use one brush to paint everybody, because I know that for one, in our institution, that is not like that. There was a time that I think my department we even failed accreditation, but that failure, made everybody to buckle up. From the management to even we as the staff and everybody. So there are things we did not have before that we were now forced to have. It's not a matter of putting up a show when the person now goes, everything. No. And we are still enjoying it today. So the point is this, the corruption factor is there. Even the way some of these universities are, some of these so-called illegal universities may have even applied for for the license, but maybe because they have not settled one or two people in high places, or they don't have the connection, they will be like, oh yeah, come and get license, let us see. You don't know, you will do like what your mates are doing. So the corruption factor is top to bottom. But the thing is this, we need to come out openly and tell ourselves the truth that yes, there is the demand for education is there and will continue to remain. But if we
it's not a bad thing now.
It's
not a bad thing for we to demand to be educated. Education develops the nation.
No doubt.
No nation can develop beyond the quality of its education sector. Yes. So, but if we are to work on the education system, we should do it objectively. So when we
since you know that it's education that develops the nation, so why won't you work towards giving us a quality education?
Now, when you talk of quality,
my lecturers, my institutions. So, Prof, come in now. my lecturers, my institution, my NUC, my government themselves. Why won't you work towards that?
Thank you very much. It's a very pertinent question, and as you have already said, we cannot develop beyond our head of our standard we set for ourselves. Most of the things in Nigeria have to do with Nigerian factor. And the Nigerian factor is that we've been struggling with the issue of integrating this country into one. We've been struggling with the problem of trying to see if we can make Nigeria one nation or one country or whatever. There's a problem of unity, a problem of knowing that this is my country. Just like people died because Nigeria would have lost match or would have won. Some people out of the joy collapsed and died. But do we manifest that in other areas of our lives? That's a big question. Do we have that eagerness to contribute towards the well-being of Nigeria and Nigerians? Do we have that service beyond self? Do we have to sacrifice much in the interest of general members of the society? These are questions. Do we now think about our ethnic group, our sectional group, our interest groups? These are questions which Nigerians would obviously ask and then be able to find answers to. And it has to go beyond certificates or beyond the licenses of university and that kind of thing. It has to do with Nigerians, especially the elites, especially people who are at the top. Dishing out these licenses for the institution, we should tell ourselves the truth. We can't give somebody from the south a higher standard and somebody from the north a lower standard, and you think the country will move forward. And we cannot, as a matter of fact, give every student in a class a distinction. And then you have to go into the labor market with the same person who will have a third class but is more brilliant than somebody who has a first class. These are some of the questions which other countries have surpassed, and we are still battling with the issue of how do we build this country to be one. As long as people encourage mediocrity rather than meritocracy, we continue to have problems. So that's just like you asked, how do these people get these licenses? How does somebody go to Cotonou, or not only in Nigeria, go to Cotonou, one building or even one room. After 6 months, you get a certificate, and you'll be mobilized for your service, which means there are contacts between Nigeria and that place. So these are the things we have to talk about. The issue of corruption, the issue of not knowing or not being, do I have to be aware? They are aware, but because we want to get some personal favor, we want to benefit from corruption or some of these things, we kill the system. So it's a whole lot of problems which will require a lot of a lot of getting to the root. Getting to the root means that we have to tell ourselves the truth, that we are not working as one country.
Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, well, remember, for those of you that just joined us, we are looking at NUC blaming parents for prevalence of illegal degree awarding institutions. And we are asking, is it true that parents are to be blamed for all this? And from what you hear us say now, you know that the blames go to a whole lot of people and institution, government, and a whole lot. It's not just parents. I don't even know where parents come in here. If there's anywhere they come in, it's because they were misdirected. Okay? But we're going to, when we come back, we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to look at what do we do to ensure that we straighten these things out and then have a good quality education that we can beat our chest and say that I have a degree in a Nigerian university and a Western Union. We'll take a break here.
My champs, they use energy at school. I know because imagine the energy they may have used up to return home this transform every day.
Your champs need nourishing energy. Give them the new and improved Milo at breakfast.
It has nutrients that support energy release to help champs get the most out of their active days. Milo!
On the society, as I said earlier, really because they recognize certificates more than the skills. So everybody working to have that certificate. Once you have certificate, you feel elevated that you belong. So if you don't have that opportunity to go to school, you can take it. You can go outside within private cafe and get the certificate. It should be to the same thing to the person that gone to school. That the recognition of certificate is the main reason why people get the results. Because I don't blame any UC because they will not be there when you are taking it. The parents are not there. But when the parents say that somebody who with certificate is making it, if his son his daughter cannot go to school, he can fake so that he will belong to the society. So I blame the society, the Nigerian society, as the main reason why they take the result.
I don't think NUC as a constituted authority in charge of issuing certificates can go down low on their standards by issuing fake certificates. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And if at all there is anybody who is parading himself as a graduate with fake certificates, he or she should tell us where such certificate is coming from. And if at all there is anybody with such fake certificates, the parents of such people should be held responsible because they are in a better position to know whether they are stewards or the people, their children who they are piloting the affairs of are really going to school or they paraded themselves to be students.
So the system is corrupt. It's start from the head to the down. So the system is corrupt already. So even though after the certificate, they are not going anywhere with it. So that is why people are just looking for just to make claim that they have certificate, So the system is corrupt already.
Today in our society, fake certificate has become a serious situation that needs to be checked, needs to be curbed, needs to be stopped. Or who is to blame? Now, let me ask you also, who is to blame? The policeman that takes bribe on the streets or the man who gives him the bribe? The law says both of them are to blame. So also, put that also to this. Both the man who issues the fake certificate has a blame and the man who receives it has a blame. Because some of the times, it's the man who wants it, who goes to lure the man who issues it to give him because of money. Money inducement. Okay? That's where we get all this. It's a lot. There's a lot that goes down with it, and it's happening. It's giving us a bad image in this country. Anywhere you see fake things, it gives us a bad image. So I'm appealing, to those who are supposed to check these things, to put a serious check to it.
The federal government is going to blame. Let the federal government the contrary. What about what NUC is saying? It's just a group in the dark. Until you have a proper political structure, or everything is in a mess.
Okay, welcome back. Remember, I have Professor Obikeze. I got it. And then Dr. Ekesubi with me, and we're looking at this nagging topic. You've heard what people say. And now I said that when we come back, we'll start looking for solutions. But I just hope Doc and Prof will have been able to point out the problems, because if you don't know the problems, it will be difficult for you to get to think of the solution. If you have been able to point out all the things that are, giving us a hiccup, why we cannot have a well respected certificate that you present anywhere in the world and you say, yes, this is a good degree from Nigeria. Okay, have we been able to, estray all the problems, to this before we start looking for the solution?
Well, we have diagnosed the issue now. The diagnosis we have given is that all of us are involved. The government, the parents, NUC, which is part of government, the entire society. We are all part of the problem. And we have apportioned blames where there should be. And government should get the lion's share, because that should be that guides the entire society for now. There is no other way of serving a society except through the government. And so if the government doesn't do its job, all of us will get into trouble. That we have insecurity, that we have food shortages, that we have no road or poor road infrastructure and what have you. These are part of what the government should do for its people. And then, in other places, you even go beyond that to issue of welfare services to people who are working and those who are not working, those who are sick, those who are destitute, those who are orphans, the old and the aged. They're all provided for in other climes. But how far have we gone in our own system? These are some of the things. So people still live within the basic needs of man. And at that basic need, people want to wriggle out of poverty, and yet we are doing it the wrong way. So that's basically the issue. So if we start looking at the solutions to the problem, we must now say what the parents should do to enhance the situation, what the government should do, what the students themselves should do, and then what all of us should do as society.
So let's go on. Mayaki is the secretary, NUC secretary, was saying that that they've been doing this, and very soon they will start another round of clamping down on these illegal universities. I have heard one or two of that, and those universities are still existing. Okay, they clamp down on that, they seize their licenses, they confiscate whatever they have, but the institution is still existing and awarding certificates. So what kind of clamping down do you think they are doing, or they are ready to do again? Because sometimes I say you don't just come and talk because you want to be heard. You should be sure of what you want to say. Otherwise, I don't even know why NGUC should be talking about this now, because they take the greatest blame, because they are the arm of government that is in charge of these institutions. And they come to tell us that parents are to be blamed, that I clamp it down, parents went and opened it. Or I withdrew all the people that were certified from that school, and parents went and generated another certificate for them from the cyber cafe. Or I said that they are not going to go on youth service, and their parents pushed them to go into. Well, I don't even know where parents comes in here, apart from the fact that some of them were misguided. You don't know that this tuition is illegal. Ekesubi.
Nowadays, information dissemination is very critical, and I agree with you that the NUC needs to invest more in awareness creation, sensitization. What stops you from going online, and maybe you can see a full list of accredited universities, or NUC coming out, periodically telling people these are the universities we have in Nigeria. If you don't see the list here, if you don't see the school on this list, forget it. And it does the job.
And some of these institutions made their way into JAM list.
That's it now. So,
list of universities.
So when you have that list, JAM will be aware that okay, these are the people that we will make available for admission slots, placement. The NYSC will be aware that these are the institutions we should take graduates for NYSC mobilization. So you see, then for universities outside the country, look. One of the reasons that we are discussing all this is not because of that investigative journalist that went to a neighboring country and got a certificate, a degree certificate under 6 months or thereabouts without even going through the rigors of the scholarship. So you should also tell parents.
Is it only him? What about your politicians?
I'm coming. We should now tell parents that look, that no matter where you want to study outside the country, that there is no university abroad that you can finish a degree program under 6 months. That these are the red flags you should be watching out for. So bring out that sensitization and say, don't listen to these people that say, come, let's go here, come, let's go here. If this thing is not there, if this thing is not there, take cover, better run. So you see that these things are things that they need to be doing. Then again, you talk to politicians, theirs is even the worst. Because like what is happening in the health sector, when anybody from the elite family is ill, they go abroad for treatment. How do you think we will invest in our health system? The same thing with education. When everybody is sending their children outside, Europe and the rest, so they can get, look, in Europe and co, we still have substandard universities.
Sure.
But we have this inferiority complex here that when you bring a university that is saying it's something UK, you don't know if it is one of the poorest there, provided non UK. You still have substandard university there. Then you see, this thing is also finding a way of even worsening the hardship in the country. You could hear the central bank governor the other day saying that one of the critical factors that is driving the pressure on dollar is dollar that the parents are looking for to pay for school fees outside the country. And it's running into billions. So assuming we, like you said, invest in the education system, we will not be needing to be taking that foreign exchange outside this country. Look, every time I need a strike, that's why parents are going outside. What is causing the strike? Have they addressed it? As you are aware now, I heard the ASU is consulting here and there now. For the consultation.
That's like a news.
NLC. Annual ritual. It has become a ritual. It has become a ritual. And what I said when I saw that in this verse, I said, why can't they just stick? Stand on your ground, and if you don't do this, we're not going to shift ground. Not when they show you little light, you shift ground, and tomorrow you come back, and then before you know it, you become like NLC. NLC that will always call for strike and will not go.
Another thing like Prof said. Yes, if you keep them as when ASU is saying the right things that is wrong with our university system. Then another thing is this, like Prof said again, the issue of certification. When you go to school, you graduate with, you see many graduates brandishing certificates, but they are not practical. Maybe a particular child may not even be well suited for the conventional university education, and they force that person, go graduate. We need to start paying attention to what's happening on these vocational centers and the rest. The other day I was looking for a plumber to come and fix something in my house. Before I could get somebody that is very old. And I asked him, don't you have people working with you, younger people? Because sometimes, even like his hand was shaking. I was like, what's going on? Don't you have younger people? I said, 3 months.
And what else? Nobody wants to acquire skill again.
They should look at vocational skills that are
and propagate it very well.
That we develop skills, hard skills that people
build
can
higher
use.
institutions just for skills, no other thing.
They don't make it look as if Obo Nigeria University and you have not started.
That one is the university, but it's just for skill. Please, briefly, Prof, before we go, because we're running short of time. Solution. What do we do?
Okay.
Briefly, please.
We have now that we have known the problem and where we hinge this problem, we can go on. He has mentioned the issue of the government must do its work. through the national, that organ or that agency has died, National Orientation Agency. They should refurbish it, give them certain things they should be talking about. The mass media work we are doing should be able to have some impact. The churches and every religious institution should be able to emphasize. The government should, the Ministry of Education in conjunction with NUC and what's the name? The one that youth service and the rest of all these
NYSC.
They should all get involved in covering some of these issues. They should inform the people. They should mobilize the people and tell them what is going on. That is not every institution you see. And I'm even worried with this issue of illegal and non-illegal. Once an institution is given license, it's legal. I don't know. It's legal now.
You can only talk of accreditation of courses.
Exactly. You can now talk about substandard measures which they put in because of certain factors. Then the government should stop this issue of strike. Give lecturers what they should earn. In some other places, like the United States and Britain, the teachers are the most paid jobs. But here we pay them $200 a month, and we want them to perform. That's if you change the dollar rate today, that's what it is. Close to $250, not pounds. So how can somebody with that kind of thing put in his best?
Okay.
So these are some of the things which we should do, and then the teachers should also come in. The students should come in. There should be awareness creation if we are going to fight.
That will be encompassing.
Those at the top should build Nigeria the way it should be.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope they are hearing or they have heard us. NUC blames parents for prevalence of illegal degree awarding institutions. How true? That's exactly what we looked at today. And Professor Obiajulu Ubikeze, University Don, joined us to look at that today. We want to thank you very much for coming, Prof.
Thank you very much.
And then also Dr. Nonso Ekesiobi, who came from a university background too. He also made his own contributions. Thank you very much, sir.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, and that's where we're drawing the curtain for this discussion this morning, because we want to make way for another program that will come your way. I will thank you very much for joining us, those of you that watched from home, and the team, good morning, Anambra. Thank you. My name is Tijama. God keeping us. We'll be here tomorrow. God bless you.
My champs, they use energy at school. I know because imagine the energy they may have used up to return home this transform every day.
Your champs need nourishing energy. Give them the new and improved Milo at breakfast.
It has nutrients that support energy release to help champs get the most out of their active days.